and you never have a problem with the passport. What we have a problem with is, black women as a reason to go over to take advantage of women who are not financially stable. You go over here to find somebody who's going to treat you like a king.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, and we are live. Welcome, family, to another show. It is your man BMT in the building. I know it's pretty late for you guys on the East Coast, but we're going to chop it up, man. We got a lot to talk about today in concerns of the Passport Bros, okay? For some odd reason, I have no idea why people are so up in their own little, got their panties in a bunch about the Passport Bros. What I thought would be, a viral moment has become, I don't know, beyond viral. I don't know what the Passport Bros can be determining at this point. Remember, I always call it an ideology, more of a mindset, but they keep making hit pieces about the Passport Bros. All right, we're going to chop it up about the day. I just recently got another hit piece by the BBC. I don't know what it is with the BBC and them going at Passport Bros. This might be they damn near 10th mini doc podcast about the Passport Bros. That's coming out of the UK. Where my UK guys at? We got any UK guys out there? Y'all must be really feeling some feminist heat or something, because they just always they do a Passport Bro hit piece at least once every 2 months. Interesting. But we're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna give a few shout outs, man, and then we're gonna get this party rolling. I also got some news updates for you guys as well. So we're gonna have a good show for you guys today. All right. I'm gonna give a shout out to my man Kevin Romes, always checking in the building. He's also on the app. Shout out to you, Kevin Romes, in the building. Says ain't no downfall for us. We're Passport Bros, and you notice, man. You gotta say it like that. And you notice, man. And what movie was that? What movie was that, family? What was that? And you notice, man. And what movie was that in the chat? I forgot. Was that a movie? And you notice, man. What is that? Damn, Kevin Romes. What was the where you got that from, man? I remember hearing that saying. What up, Dante? Edwin in the building, as always. At your wife's house all day says, good morning, BMT chat, Passport Bro, app gang from John TM. A lot of factors that can contribute to a downfall. Let's get to chopping this table, this favor, right? Shout out to Passport Bro for life. All right, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to my man Poppy Nomad. No clickbait, man. Listen, they just dropped another video about the Passport Bros. Yesterday? My man Rob. Shout out to my man Rob out there in Medellin. I think he was the owner of Vibes Bar and Sky Roof Bar out there in Park of Years. I'm not sure if he still has that. But shout out to him for sending me the video. He just said Passport Bros need to turn up. We got a lot of stuff coming out of Colombia too, man. Colombia, Medellin in particular, they really have it out for the Passport Bros. I'm not gonna say that not the actual, community or citizens of Medellin, but they always want to target Medellin as if that's like the only place that Passport Bros go. It's crazy. All right, so a lot of people, the internet haters, plantation pookies, praying on the downfall of the Passport Bros. Not going to happen. Keep praying, though, at your wife's house all day. Kevin Johnson says, what up, BMT? No, say it ain't so. Kevin Rome said, I frequent London. They must be talking about me. Yeah, they got, hey, man. And the crazy part about it is I've actually talked to these producers, right? Now, I know it's one in particular. I'm assuming that she's like one of those young feminist females out there in the UK. But in our conversation, it seemed on the surface very polite, but you know how that goes. Like when you had that conversation and, she's asking you about the Passport Bros and you try to give her your definition of it and the history of it. And it's kind of like she knows she's going to do some, a spin on it, a negative spin on it. But yet she's being nice on the surface. And I think she just keeps coming out. If it's the same producer I talked to that was just from the recent Vice documentary, now she did tell me that she was gonna, she works at a production company and she basically produces the film and then kind of pretty much leases the rights out to different distribution platforms like a Vice or a BBC. But I'm thinking she's gonna do 2 max. I think she's on like a roll with like number 10. So she must be getting some good views from this. Okay, and you notice, man, that's Friday. How could I forget? Reject my black card for a moment, fellas. How could I forget my fellow ATLian Chris Tucker? And you notice, man, I don't know how I forgot that, man. Smokey, yeah. How did I forget that? Yeah, I gotta reject my black card for a moment now. All right. Somebody said Slim Thug in Medellin right now. Yes, a lot of rappers that be going to Medellin. I don't know what it is about rappers that go to Medellin that want to go to the barrios and act like they just a plug. Like they just been so down with the paisas and the Colombian culture. They were selling bricks in the city, and now they just come into the plug. Man, if you don't get off that bullshit. But yeah, there'd be a lot of rappers going down to Medellin. They go to Community 13. They get a little tour. And they, I know Cameron got ran out of Community 13 for shooting a video. He thought he had it cleared, but it wasn't from the right people. That's the last thing I noticed about somebody showing the video in out there in Community 13 out there in Medellin. All right. What up, Ray Hannah? Somebody said she's the devil. Hey, man, Passport Bros gets views. And that's what it's at the end of the day. That's what it's about for a lot of these, content creators, a lot of these production houses. They got to put past. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to play. I'm only going to play like a portion of the clip. I want to say it's from the same Vice documentary because they're talking about the Austin, the TikTok, not Austin, the Black Austin, but I guess the Latino Austin. I think he's Latino. They're talking about him, the TikTok star, and I'm assuming it's from the same documentary. I don't know why they would put it out under a podcast and just micro clip things that he's saying as he's the king of the Passport Bros or some shit. All right. All right. Shout out my man Big Guapo says, the thing is, why do you have to keep explaining ourselves to people, especially women? It's just not the women, though. We got a lot of haters on the guys, too. It's almost expected from the women. The women don't like seeing that pool of men that they can manipulate being brain drained, going somewhere else, and actually being happy, actually being in genuine relationships. So we kind of know why the women do it, because that's something that they necessarily can't do. All right. And we've been seeing the passport shits crash out as of recent. It was some sisters out there in Cartagena that, they claimed they almost got kidnapped, and I was going to say this a while ago about, because at one point people were saying that, well, only these certain type of travelers that are looking for ladies of the night, they're the only ones that have issues in Colombia. And I said, no, that's false. That's false. Anybody can get it in Colombia, in any city in Colombia. Okay. All right. I mean, there is a deprivation of resources there. And you have that combined with some of the most beautiful women in the world. So that formula is going to always create a pretty sketchy, in some cases, violent and dangerous society. Right. So recently, I think it was a group of women that went down to Cartagena. Then you had a woman that was, she was shipped down out there in Medellin. And guys were saying, well, Medellin, Colombia is safe, which in some cases it is. But at the same time, they was making it seem like, well, the women don't have any issues when they go down there to Colombia. And I'm like, oh, just hold on for a second. Just wait a minute, because at one point, the brothers didn't have no issues down there in Colombia. But once they figured out brothers had money, and they weren't really necessarily part of the struggle, once they figured out dudes had bread, that's when they started targeting us. So it was only a matter of time. And shout out to my man Andre Love Crossing Boards. I think he did a video. I know my man, what's his name? I forgot my guy out there in Cartagena, the Colombian travel guide. He did a video on it. And yeah, these women barely got away from being kidnapped. All right. I was always kidnapped on my very first trip in Medellin. When them guys go into the airport, these little fake Ubers go in there, you hop in the wrong car, and they take you somewhere and shake you down and rob you and all that stuff. So yeah, it's dangerous for the most part. And it's going to be even more dangerous for women. 10 times over. Once they pick up on, okay, these women got some money, they got bread, we're going to shake them down. We're going to kidnap them because they're an easy target. They don't know where they at. They don't speak the language. All right. They're pretty much unprotected. They have no guys necessarily around them. So yeah, they're going to start getting targeted as well. Kevin Rome said those celebrities are obviously oblivious to reality, straight simping. Yeah, the sister that went viral, she was in Parker Year, said she was spying on us. Hey man, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about them coming to the same places that we go to. I thought that a lot of women like to go to Italy and Paris and all that. And what's the other countries? Italy, Paris, Jamaica. They had their own little, their own little girl trip, safe havens, countries and cities and stuff like that. But they started venturing out to places like Medellin, Cartagena, recently Thailand. Shout out to sisters out here in Thailand. They got whole groups out here in Thailand and Bangkok and Pattaya now. They seem to be following us everywhere we go, fellas. There is no escape. There is no escape. All right. Ray Hanna, the Hanna Force says, son, bro, you should have seen Scholar's recent shorts. When I tell you that he basically revealed why dudes who are able travel comfortably shouldn't worry about Brad. I don't know where that's coming from, Ray Hanna. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Real quick before we get to the video, I want to give a shout out to the original Passport Bros Facebook group. I think I got a super chat here. Let me get the super chat real quick. Shout out to my man Asuma Abdu. Hopefully I pronounced your name right, brother. With $2 super chat, really appreciate that. BMT, how good are you? Are your consults on Brazil, DR? 1 out of 10. I haven't done no consultations in quite a while, man. I give a lot of information out on the app. A lot of guys be hitting me up personally. I haven't been to consultation in quite a bit, but I'm pretty versed on Brazil. It's really about the connects that you know in Brazil, the guys that can really put you on, tell you where to stay at. And it's a big difference in vacation in Brazil and also living in Brazil. If you're moving to Brazil, I recommend getting a consultation. I know I got a consultation before I went, so I recommend that because there's a lot of different things you got to be aware of when you're moving to a different country. All right. Somebody said Taylor Made. I'm not sure Taylor Made is still on YouTube at this point. All right, but I want to give a shout out to the original Passport Bros Facebook group, where it all stemmed from. We just reached 25,000 members today. A lot of good information in this group. A lot of guys that are in this group. Hold on, let me pull it up. On screen. A lot of these guys that are in the group are also on the Passport Bros app as well. But this is where it all started. This is where it all started. The Passport Bros Facebook group. And we were growing really fast. I think they kind of tempered us down or something like that. Then you had a lot of off-brand, I call them pretty much bootleg groups, Passport Bros with a dot, Passport Bros with a space in between, all these little off-brand groups. They kind of allow everybody in. Passport Bros is, pretty much for the guys, the fellas. We have a few women that kind of add men and help out with the group that are in the group as well. But for the most part, it's, basically, all males, all Passport Bros in the group. The other groups might have bigger numbers, but they allow anybody in. They allow anybody to post. We wanted to be a little bit more exclusive with our group. We wanted to kind of keep it more so travel and not be trying to, get into all the viral moments of what's going on in the West, because we felt like, for the most part, that you guys come to our groups and the app to kind of escape from the Western media cycle. So we keep it pretty much travel. It's a lot of good information in this group. So this is the original group. Guys sometimes hit me up and say, hey, man, why didn't you approve my posts? I typically don't approve posts, but when I do, I do, approve all the good travel-oriented posts. Sometimes guys think the other groups are my group, but they're not. So I don't see the posts. And guys be hitting me up and say, hey, man, I put this deposit down. I got scammed this and this, that, and the other. I say, hey, man, that's not even my group. All right. That's not a group. As a matter of fact, I had one guy messaging me because, Facebook puts the messages in another section when they're not on your friend list. And he was messaging me. I saw he was messaging me for months about women being in the group. And I said, hey, man, it's only there's like 2 or 3 women in the group, and they have like specific roles of like, adminning and, approving posts and stuff like that. My personal assistant She's in the group, of course. Then we got another asterisk in the group. She helps put the group trips together with Cardell and the DR. But for the most part, it's an all-male group. Come to find out, you're talking about the other group. You're talking about the other Passport Bros group that has the females in it. And what I recognize about these co-ed groups, which are cool. I'm in a few of them myself, but it's so much simping. It's almost like you cannot really be yourself when you want to, especially as a group of guys. You just can't do it with the women. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys are tempering down. They don't really want to say what they mean for the most part, because they've been told, their whole life to tell a woman what she want to hear, and she'll be nice to you and maybe give you some type of sexual pleasures or whatnot. Maybe you can meet her. Like, in that Black and Thailand group, is so much cap, so much sipping in that group. I'm like, man, what is this? I understand that a group creators wants to create group trips and bring people to Thailand and make money. I get that part, but it's just so much misinformation because the guys aren't being honest to the women, and then when the guys call out the lies and call out the sipping, then the guys ban you from the group because they want to generate sales for the group trips. So they're not really being honest. We do group trips every few years or whatnot too. But we always going to be honest and transparent in our Passport Bros group. That's how we got it to 25,000 members. All right. Oh, someone says, I'm not even going to lie. Those Passport groups were funny. Were kind of funny. Yeah. I mean, I was banned from most of them. Actually, I think I'm still in one of the groups. But once again, it's like a co-ed group, right? Nothing, it's really no good information like that. And they're basically lying to the females. They're trying to fly females out and all that. And I'm like, is that what we doing? Is that what we doing? We flying chicks out now? You know what I mean? What up, Punch Travel? All right. Real quick, I want to play this video real quick, man. Somebody shared this in the Passport Bros app. All right. And when they tell people not to bring the battery banks on the plane, maybe keep them in your check bags. I thought it was all, I'm thinking like, okay, whatever, no big deal, because I usually have my battery bank on me, keep my cell phone charged. And check this out. Check this out, man. I know guys was panicking on this clip right here. Hold on. Check this out, fellas. They are serious. They are not playing no games. So leave your battery banks. All right, at least check them in or leave them at home. But check this out.
A tense situation on board a Hong Kong Airlines flight today. Smoke filled the cabin after a fire broke out in an overhead bin, where a lithium-ion battery power bank appeared to have ignited inside a passenger's bag, entering a state of thermal runaway. Following their firefighting training, the cabin crew worked quickly, along with passengers, to manage the situation. They ensured everyone remained calm, while focusing on containing the fire by using bottles of water and juice to cool the burning device, preventing further escalation. Despite the intensity of the incident, their efforts paid off. The fire was extinguished, and the device was cooled before the flames could spread. The pilots made the decision to divert to Fuzhou, China, where the aircraft landed safely. No injuries were reported, and emergency responders were standing by upon arrival. The charred remains of the overhead bin serve as a stark reminder of the dangers posed by lithium-ion batteries in flight. Authorities are now investigating the incident. This potentially deadly situation highlights why flight attendants are on board, not just to serve drinks, but to save lives. Their primary role is safety, and their training prepares them to handle life-threatening situations at 30,000 feet, just like this one.
That is crazy. Excuse me, that's crazy. All right. So be careful with those power banks, fellas. I know we want to keep our phones charged and everything. You got a lot of nice little power banks you can buy, these little, secondhand shops around the world for, $5-10. But man, keep them, just put them in your check-in bag, man. Kevin Rome says it's been like that with American Airlines and other airlines. They don't allow power banks over 10,000 megahertz. Some still get through though. What up, Tunnel Runner? What's good? What's good? Yeah, that would freak a lot of people out though, to be on a flight and see that, you know, it's a fire started in the airplane, especially right about now when all these airplanes is, you know, crashing and everything like that. They've been hiding the pilots too. Some of them crashes, they've been kind of real funny style about putting the total information out. At your White House, they said, how you create a group about Thailand, but want to fly here and make it your own personal Wakanda? Hey, man. Hey, the travel space is growing. It is growing. It's growing fast. A lot of people getting their passports. I'm seeing a lot of, you know, more of us out here, even in Pattaya, even though we're still a minority. I'm seeing a lot of studs out here, a lot of studs coming out here as well. Shout out to the studs, you know. They out here, man. They are out here. Okay. They are out here. All right, before I get to the video, I want to play one more clip before I get to the video. And like I said, I don't know how much of this video I can play because they've been really, especially in concerns of Vice and BBC, they are really critical or hypercritical of people doing response videos to their little hit pieces. I don't know what YouTube takes it down right away when you even show a micro clip. So I'm only going to play like just a, you know, maybe a few minutes here and there. Now this is a podcast, so it's not any visuals to it. I'm assuming it's from the same content from the recent documentary. They just dropped this on the 19th, so a couple of days ago. But I do believe that this is mostly footage from or audio from the previous documentary they did on Vice. All right, but before we get to that, I want to talk about Mr. Trump. All right, President Trump and his new recent travel ban list for people entering the United States. Now, maybe some of these countries we might get some pushback. I didn't really see any countries on here that most of us frequently visit, but it was a few. Let me go ahead and put this on here. Trump is something else. Trump is something else. Like I say, it's kind of unfortunate. You know, most Americans are on vacation mode. Most of us are trying to escape the American political system because it's just so in your face, 24/7 politics, Trump, what Trump executive order that he done today. But it definitely trickles, out to other countries. And as soon as you say you're American, the next sentence is going to be, well, what do you think about Trump? Or I hate that guy, Trump. Or it's like other things. But anyways, let me go ahead and pull this list up. All right. So there are banning countries again. Now keep in mind, family, that this is pretty much normal. They always have countries on ban lists for the most part. But let's go ahead and play it. Let's see what we got to say.
Countries again. You'll remember the initial Trump travel ban. Well, he is back, and now there are 43 countries on the ban list. Let's go through it. So there are 3 color-coded lists of countries. There are red countries where all travel is going to be banned. There are orange countries where visas are going to be sharply restricted. And then there are yellow countries who are given notice, 60 days to address concerns. If they are not able to address those concerns or come to an agreement, they could be banned in the future. This information is from leaks of draft documents of these bans. And so it is not the full list. Just as a caveat, it could change before it becomes official. So on the red country list, most of these are countries we fully expected to be on the travel ban list. The difference here is Afghanistan is on the list. They were not on it the previous time, and they've added Bhutan, which is a interesting choice for a country in Asia, in between India and China. Very small, mostly Buddhist country. You notice interesting.
So they pretty much was Venezuela always on there though? Because there's a lot of Venezuelans in the United States right now. All right, they're deporting them, but that's all travel ban to America right now is Venezuela.
Interestingly, Iraq is not on here, generally lumped in with countries like this. And reason being, they have really intensely lobbied to get off the list. They lobbied to get off the first list, and they've been able to remain off this list again. But basically, any travel from these countries coming to the US, people with passports from those countries, is going to be banned. The next group is going to be this orange list of countries. This is where travel is going to be restricted, but not fully banned. So what the New York Times is saying is likely people with business visas will still be allowed, but people traveling on tourist visas or people applying for immigrant visas through spousal immigrant visa process, adopted children of US citizens and other immigration cases like that will not be allowed to come to the country. Finally, we have the yellow countries. These are the really surprising ones. These are countries that you generally would not expect to be on a list like this and that often have close relationships with the United States.
So they got Cambodia on there, Burkina Faso. I know the list looks really small. A lot of Caribbean nations. All right, up on here you got Cape Verde. That's kind of shocking. Republic of Congo, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, Gambia. All right, Saint Kitts and Nevis. All right, Zimbabwe's on the list. I think Zimbabwe on the list because they bucked on that LGBT shit with Obama.
Think of many Caribbean countries here are on this list. St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica. Very surprising to see a list like this, but they're not banned yet. They're given 60 days to address those concerns. Those concerns are for issues like not properly sharing information about incoming travelers, inadequate security practices for issuing passports, or selling passports to people from banned countries. So for example, if you're from Venezuela on that red list, you could buy a passport in St. Kitts and Nevis and then travel to the United States on that.
Oh, I didn't know they was doing that. I did not know they was doing that. So you can buy a passport from St. Kitts and Nevis just to get back to the United States. Okay.
I, of course, don't think you should be banning anyone. Everyone's case should be decided individually on their own merits rather than punishing the entire population of a country for that country's government action. But this is the current policy that is proposed and likely going into effect in the coming weeks. So if you are from one of these countries and you have a visa to the United States and you want to go there, plan to go there soon, get your ass there because it is very likely that you could be cut off in the coming days. They are banned.
All right. So that's our boy Trump. There's a new list. All right. That's his new list of travel bans for the most part. Somebody said F Trump and his supporters. Zimbabwe have been sanctioned since they kicked out those colonizers. All right. A man said from St. Kitts and Nevis, born and raised. Okay. Somebody said Elon Musk is already investigating child support with Doge. It's getting real out here. Listen, man, I'm not a fan of Elon. Elon bugging out with the Nazi salute at the presidential inauguration. I'm not comfortable with that shit at all. I would think people would be in an uproar and there'd be multiple documentaries about him instead of the Passportbros. All right. Now let me go ahead and pull up this so-called podcast by the BBC. All right. Now, interesting enough, the title of this is The Effects of Digital Nomads in Medellin, Colombia. They're talking about the pricing, the cost of living, everything. Everything, of course, is high in those touristy areas. And that's how it is pretty much anywhere in the world. I have been seeing apartments. The prices are definitely pretty high as far as for rentals in Poblado, even in places close to Poblado. What's the other one? What's the other little Envigado? You got Envigado, you got La Rela. La Rela is just always going to be priced decently, in my opinion. I know I found an apartment in La Relas for a decent little price, but people are definitely aware of the Airbnb hustle. So the prices on the apartments purchase are pretty high, in my opinion. Now, the thing is, the last mayor election in Colombia, you had people that wanted to regulate the Airbnbs, the real estate there, and people that didn't want any regulation. And even though yes, digital nomads are paying these, stupid prices, in my opinion. It's still on the people that are charging these prices too. Like they choose to make these prices extremely high because they want foreigners in their buildings, paying them sometimes 3 to 4 times the rent. When I was originally in Medellin during COVID, the prices were relatively low, moderate for the most part. You can get a 1-bedroom apartment. I think my first apartment there in Poblado, not too far from the park, was $600 a month. That same apartment is now $1,000 a month. What was that? Maybe 3-4 years later. All right. Kevin Rome says, bring back masculinity. All right, so let's go ahead. So this is Passport Bros BBC trending. All right, we've been trending for a very long time. We've been trending for some years now. Almost 5 years we've been so-called trending. All right, so let's play a little clip. Like I said, I can only play a little bit because they're going to probably strike the video down immediately. Okay, so let me just go to this. Who are the Passport Bros?
On Medellin.
You're just
All right, so let's see what they got to say on their definition of Passport Bros real quick.
able to live in paradise with beautiful people and only spend a fraction of what you were in your hometown.
Austin is a 33-year-old data scientist from Colorado in the United States. He says he left his home 4 years ago to become a digital nomad. That's a remote worker who bounces from location to location as a lifestyle choice. He says that moving countries has helped him improve his life in a variety of ways.
That almost sounds like the lady that I was on the phone with. That sounds like her voice a little bit.
And it's those improvements he has now become an evangelist for. On social media under the username Digital Bromad, Austin extols the benefits for young men of changing their country. He cites currency power, freedom to work and travel, and a healthier lifestyle as all being reasons to move overseas, particularly to places culturally outside what he refers to as the West. He also highlights another benefit of living in places like Medellin to his over 500,000 followers, the ability to date and meet women.
See, that it's that last part. It's the last part that got people in the bunch. The ability to date and meet women.
Dating is a piece of the puzzle, but it is the inflammatory piece of the puzzle. I feel like that's the one that I think it gets the most pushback, is saying that dating options I've had a better success dating outside of the West. And I think that's what Passport Bros would agree with, that dating is better outside the West.
100%. 100%. And there's so many factors that goes along with that. Not only is it cheaper to date, since a lot of these countries don't necessarily have hookup culture, the women will go out with you and spend time with you because they generally have an interest to you, instead of doing the restaurant diner hustle that they do in the States, where women just getting free meals.
In one of Austin's videos titled How to Get a Big Booty Latina, Austin holds his US passport and suggests spots where you can meet local women, for example, a language exchange where locals and tourists can teach each other Spanish and English.
Then you're going to help people learn English, and you're going to learn about the culture and community of Colombia. And in doing so, you're going to meet a beautiful Latina lady interested in learning English.
There's plenty of bravado in his videos as he jokes around with women and explains how much further your money can go when taking a girl out on a date, explaining it's easier to meet women abroad than at home.
Is that bravado, or is that just a logical statement? How's that bravado? That's not a definition of bravado. That's not him bragging on anything. He's just being logical and just saying a generally true statement.
In our chat, he talks of the dating culture in the US deteriorating. He highlights how men can improve their outcomes by changing their dating app locations.
Any guy in the West can test this. Set your dating app location to not just Medellin, set it to someplace in Rio de Janeiro, set it to a place in the Philippines. Each of these places have beauty standards. You're immediately 1 in, 500, 1 in 1,000, and that can get you attention. Also, you're a foreigner. That's attractive. Sometimes women are tired of dating in their own culture, and they're like, I guess I'll give a Westerner a shot. Here's a person. You stand out on dating apps. I would also say, your life looks amazing. If you're a passport bro, your photos are probably you in Brazil, on the beaches of Brazil. The next photos, you on a jet ski in Colombia. I'm also more attractive to women back home since I started traveling full time.
Facts. All facts, Austin. Austin is not capping at all right there. And I know you guys in the chat have experienced that. I know guys in the chat have experienced that message from that old ex, all right, old girl from back in the day. You know, hey, big head, you already know how it go. What you been up to? Trying to play it off like she ain't seen you in all these damn different countries. She's not thinking she messed up. Married women, all types of shit be hitting you up. I know it's not just me. You know, you got girls from high school, college. Hey, what you do? How you travel overseas? I want to travel overseas. How you live overseas on full time? I want to move to Bangkok. I want to move to Thailand. You know, somebody in the chat. I know y'all have experienced that. Somebody in the chat. Hold on. If you experience, you know, I like to do these little polls. If you've experienced, all right, random women from your past hitting you up, you know, so-called checking in with you, trying to get a piece of your lifestyle, all right, press yes or no in the chat. Do old flames or exes hit you up when trapped? Hey, Gron. Start that poll right there. Y'all know how I am with my little polls and stuff. All right. Women you haven't talked to in years. All right. Women you haven't talked to in years, family. Punch Travel Channel says yes. And you know what I hate? I hate when they hit you up and you notice that they're like 30 pounds heavier than when you first met them. I'm just like, man, really? Two kids in, two baby daddies in, 30 pounds heavier. All right. So I said, I never had a girlfriend with kids. I deserve a medal. You never had a girlfriend who has kids? All right. You know, okay, family. Okay, R. All right, Club Fillers. TTS says, hello, fellow mongers. Okay, what are you talking about, fellow mongers, man? Get out of here with that. I thought Club Fillers was the homie. I'm not sure if that's the real Club Fillers or not. All right. Somebody said, I really don't keep in people just like that. All right, when y'all hit the poll, let's continue with the video.
Austin isn't the only one. Many social media accounts offer tips for how foreign men should approach dating in Latin America and specifically Medellin. Lots of the videos are lighthearted, but others allude to a deep dissatisfaction with dating in the US, a bitterness against using dating apps in their own country, and why, in their opinion, you should date a Latina over a woman in the US. But you don't have to look far to find videos with a stronger tone that are very different from the kinds of posts Austin shares. But they also feature the term passport bro. Dozens of videos showcase the city's sex tourism industry, and some refer to the city as the world's biggest open-air brothel.
Dozens of videos out of hundreds of thousands of videos uploaded daily. That's a very minority of videos. Very small amount of videos.
One TikTok account has posted several videos that pan across Medellin's streets in a popular nightlife area. The videos show exclusively young women clustered in small groups or coupled together.
Keep in mind that a lot of these videos, are actually men from other Latin countries. Okay, when you see that, the videos a lot of times are in Spanish. All right, she's kind of put this like all in the American. I think most American travelers, American content creators kind of know better not to put that type of business out there, especially when you're not from there. But a lot of these videos are actually from guys coming from Spain, guys coming from, Mexico, just other Latin countries. All right, other Latin countries. It's the same thing as when you see Asian guys filming on Soy 6 or something. I mean, they feel like they have the right, or, hey, it's part of their culture. They're going to film it. They're going to record it. They're going to talk about it. That's not necessarily a Passport Bros thing. As a matter of fact, I doubt any of these guys even hashtag Passport Bros in these videos. All right.
They appear to be unaware they're being filmed. Ratio of Women in Medellin, Colombia reads the title on several of these videos. Hashtag Passport Bros, hashtag hookup, #WorkingWomen, it continues. In Colombia, sex work is legal and is often common in tourist areas. What's concerning people in the country is that some foreign men are traveling to sexually exploit children, mostly underage girls.
Once again, how's that tied into Passport Bros? Come on. Those are guys coming from other countries, other Latin countries, in some cases, European countries that's been doing that shit for 20, 30 goddamn years before the hashtag Passport Bros ever came about. All right. Those are pedos. That's a whole different thing. I don't know why they're trying to tie that into the Passport Bros. All right. This is another hit piece. And it's a very lazy hit piece at that. Like, they didn't even give us visuals on this one. They just getting lazy with it now. All right. As I says they weigh in into the Passport Bros so they can get clicks and views. All right. Pedo behavior has nothing to do with the Passport Bros. And they know that. They know that. But in order to bring attention to it, they got to hashtag the Passport Bros. That's only when people going to click on the videos. What they said about the Passport Bros today. That's why people get clicks and views. And even this video, I think it's at like 15,000 in 2 days or something like that. That's not super impressive for 1.2 million subs, in my opinion. All right. Okay. So let me skip through this little hit piece. Like I said, it was kind of lazily done. They just didn't give us no visuals, no nothing. They just being lazy with it now. Right,
I want to speak in English.
You want to speak
the video.
True.
While many young men.
All right, let me just catch the super chat real quick and we'll get back to the audio podcast about the Passport Bros. All right. Reginald, watching the 5 super chat. FAFO in the Matrix. What does FAFO, that hashtag mean, Reginald? If you don't mind explaining that in the chat. We try to tell everyone, Aaron, but common sense isn't common. All right. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I agree. They smear us with those predators, low blows. Whatever they can do to damage the Passport Bros is what they're gonna do. All right. A lot of people are in their feelings. You know, most of the guys that hate the Passport Bros are judged that they can't travel or they're not in a situation where they can live overseas. But then you got the feminists and the women who are jealous that men are able to pick up, go to a country thousands of miles away and get into genuine relationships and find love again later in life. Okay. And they are also upset. They're also upset that it shrinks the pool of men that are able to be manipulated by women. Okay. That's what they're upset about. They're upset about that brain drain. They don't like the fact that men have options. They don't want men, black or white, in the West to have any options, especially older, all right, single men with no kids. Okay. And right now, I had a video. I don't know if I can find this. If I can find this video, I'll try to play this video after I play this video. But there's a lot going on in concerns of population decline in some of these other countries that are welcoming Western men into these countries. All right. It's a lot going on with that as well. And it's even a decline in population and in marriages in America as well. I think America's on the list. All right. Let me see if I can find that video. I really want to. I think my man Andre sent that video to me. Shout out to Andre Love Crossing Borders. All right. All right. Let's get to the poll real quick. 43% says yes, 57% say no. Y'all must not be posting on Instagram. Y'all must not. All right. That's strange. I would think most of your guys that have ex-women hit you up. I'm gonna play this last part, and I'm gonna see if I can find that other video about the population decline, right? And why they're welcoming foreign men into these countries. Let's see if I can find that video.
Men are drawn to Medellin with the promise of a better quality of life. Being a passport bro is not without risks.
So I've actually been living in Colombia for over the last 2 years, and these are going to be the 3 ways that I've found how to stay safe while meeting women while you're here.
In the last 3 years, over 80 foreigners have died in Medellin under suspicious circumstances. Last year, authorities say 39 tourists died, half of them American. The victims were nearly all men and often last seen leaving their accommodation to meet women on dates. At the start of last year, the US issued a warning and advised its citizens to be cautious, as criminal gangs have been using dating apps to drug and rob men. According to a security alert from the US Embassy in Colombia, part of the risk is being drugged by scopolamine, or devil's breath, an odorless, tasteless white powder that, when dropped in someone's drink or sprayed, renders that person unconscious and unable to resist for what could be days. The city's mayor acknowledges that scopolamine is a problem. We approached him for interview for this program, but he didn't get back to us. For Austin, the potential dangers passport bros can face shouldn't stop people visiting the city.
It sucks because Colombia's tried really, really hard to say that they're not like super dangerous and violent, and then these stories come out. And I honestly believe they get a little sensationalized. I think millions of tourists go visit, millions and millions, and if one has an encounter with scopolamine, it hits the news and they sort of blow it up because it's a sexy story, right? It's interesting. It's like, dang, men are getting drugged over there in their drinks, and it's usually reversed. You know what I mean? Women have to watch their drinks. Men have to watch their drinks over here.
The Passport Bro movement is not just focused on Medellin. It drifts and shifts to where a Passport Bro can find the best life for himself, where his currency stretches far and life will feel easier, healthier, and more adventurous than back home. Many of these Passport Bros are very explicit about why they moved, highlighting their dissatisfaction with dating, particularly online dating in their hometowns. Despite the potential dangers, Medellin is still a top location for Passport Bros, and there's a constant stream of new content encouraging men to remote work and date. Their presence in the city is not going to vanish overnight. So perhaps Medellin's future relationship with the Passport Bros rests in the hands of 2 types of algorithms: the algorithms of the dating apps and those of the social media platforms that Passport Bros use to promote their movement online.
It looks like she kind of threw a little lightweight shot at the end. All right, talking about the social media part of it, the movement, the algorithms, and stuff like that. The guys coming together in these online communities and sharing information without a lot of oversight. All right, that's why it's so important for us to house our own community. Remember, guys, they took down the original Facebook group once it hit like 8,000. Somebody said, we're not having this on Facebook, and took that joint down. That's when we came up with the Passport Bros app community. All right, that's why it's important to go ahead and sign up, download it for free. All right, we got a whole birthing community on the app. I think we almost over 10,000 guys on that app. We got about 25,000 on the Facebook group. But make sure you join the Passport Bros app. Link is in the description. All right, because we don't know. We wake up one day and the groups might be gone. We just don't know. You know, a brain drain of American and Western men leaving the country is somewhat of a big deal. It's not being talked about in any policies as of yet, okay? But you gotta keep in mind that, you know, the generation of men, man, it's important that they participate in that matrix system in order for it to run properly. All right, so it is somewhat of a big deal. You know, the Passport Bros, we're making an effect, and it keeps on growing because they keep on giving us relevancy. They keep on talking about us. We've been trending for 5 years. This is beyond a viral moment at this point. Okay. So you got the KKK groups. You got hella divested groups and divested channels on YouTube, 300-some thousand strong, that just post, horrible shit about black men in general. All right. Club Phillips. Who is this Club Phillips? I don't know if this is my guy out there with the British accent or what. I don't know who that is. Let me see if I can pull this up before we go, man. We've been at it for a little bit, chopping it up with the fam. Let's see where we at. Hold on, let me see. Let me make sure. Hold on, because I'm notorious for putting up stuff on the screen, putting people information out there. Let me close some of these screens real quick. I'm gonna see if I can find it. All right. Countries with the lowest fertility rate in Asia. This is a big deal. They're talking about this in the news cycles out here as well. This is a big deal. Just don't realize that, hey, these people are fighting for survival right now. What's it say? Let me close this out real quick. Because I have some of these screens. All right, hold on. Okay, here we go. Now, this is from 1964, so it's been a downward trend. These are some of the countries right here. All right, and keep in mind, the United States is down on this list as well. These are just Asian countries. I couldn't find the actual video, but I think United States is it's not in the top 10, but it's definitely in the top 25. Men aren't having babies no more. Men aren't getting married anymore. I'm telling you, this is a big problem. This is a big issue. Like I said, they haven't covered it yet. Right now, they're doing other things in the White House right now. But it could be a case for concern. Don't be surprised. All right? Naive young men from 18, all right, to 25. Then you got men of fighting age all the way up until they're 45 years old. The United States and the governments typically has to know what's going on with them. Why are they leaving? Why are they not getting married? All right, why are they not joining the military? Why are they not working in warehouses? Why are they not driving buses no more? Why are they not driving trucks no more? Why is everybody trying to get overseas now? That's going to be a concern in the next 5 years, trust me. And because of this in the Passport Bros, they might enact some changes in policy. All right, they might end no default divorce. They might be more balanced in child support. All right, so in essence, Passport Bros are benefiting men directly and indirectly of the guys that don't even travel. They don't even understand why it's important for guys to leave the United States, to make it a better lifestyle for them in the States. All right. So you can see Japan on that list. They've been having a population decline pretty. I think what was the other one? Albania was up there. South Korea, of course, is up there. Hong Kong is up there. We all know what happened with China. Qatar is up there. Singapore is up there. I started over again, but let's see. Yeah, they're fighting for survival at this point, family. Let me catch the super chat real quick. Shout out my man, the Crypto Game Podcast. Shout out to you, man. We gotta do another show about crypto. We had a really good show last time. It was maybe a couple of years ago. I know Kev been ducking you, bro. You kind of got in with my man Killer Kev last time, the anti-crypto guy. But we definitely got to do another show. But shout out to you, man. I appreciate $20 super chat. It says it's crazy how they call us dusties, brokies, beta losers, and unwanted. But since that didn't work, they said they were being used. Then they tried to scare us. Then they tried to get the government to stop us. And now they are here. Exactly. Good point. The Crypto Game Podcast. Passport Bros and Crypto, man. Those are the new freedom papers. All right. Those definitely new freedom papers. Shout out to Oheen in the chat. Somebody says Trump isn't bad for the Passport Bros movement. Why do you say that, CC? Oh, because of the bans in all the other countries and the tariffs and all that, the sanctions. You might be right. Like I say, he's a topic of conversation every single time you tell somebody that you're American. There's the first thing they bring up, even though we're out here in Thailand, is how do you feel about Trump? Or I don't like Trump. The world pays attention to who's in the White House. All right, they definitely pay attention to who's in the White House. Oh yeah, you're right. A lot of government workers are having to return back to the office as well. Can't forget that. Things are changing, man. Things are definitely changing. All right, guys, it's been a solid hour. Get chopping up with you. Next time I go live, I will be in Bangkok for the weekend. If any guys out there, come out there and holler at me. Hit me on the email, blackmantravels@gmail.com. Maybe we can link up. As a matter of fact, I'm linking up with a first-time traveler today. I'm going to do an interview with him. It's a good feeling seeing guys that, it's like their first time, their first couple of days. Shout out to my man MAB. I did a lot of content with him last week. I'm gonna be putting out this week. It's just I love seeing that, because you rarely see guys smile in the States, especially brothers. You don't see a lot of us smiling, being joyful, being happy in general. But it's just good to see that, it kind of gives you a new shot at life, right? It gives you that new stimulant that you need, to be motivated, basically. Guys, like I know my first time in Brazil in 2017, that really motivated me. I had made my mind up that I was going to leave America. I was like, I went back. I told everybody. It was like, how was Brazil? I said, man, Brazil was dope. My first trip was 10 days. Shout out to the Black Man's Option. I was down there in Brazil. It changed my life. And at that point, I said, hey, man, I am moving overseas, right? It might not be specifically Brazil, but I'm definitely getting out the States. And it wasn't just because of the women. It was just to have a break from living in the Matrix, man. All right. I mean, just the feeling you have of new landscapes, and just seeing different views, different vistas, experiencing different cultures, learning different languages, eating different foods. All right. Dating is fun. Right. It's fun again. They're not going out with you just to kind of use you for a meal and just be done with you and everything like that. It's really cool. All right. And I know a lot of brothers want to live overseas, try to figure it out. It took me a few years to put myself in a position. It took me 4 years to put myself in a position where I could live overseas. And I want to pass that to everybody else. That's why we created the Passportbros app. All right. So guys can monetize their posts. It's basically a monetization of the private Facebook group, but better, right? With less, government Facebook oversight and all that. Guys are posting all types of good, dope information, and guys are paying tips, man. All right. And we got some other ways guys can monetize their content as well on the app. So make sure to download the Passportbros app, man. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button, share this video. All right. Share this stream with guys that are thinking about moving overseas, or guys that even think about embracing the Passportbros ideology, because that's what it is. It's an ideology, and the ideology cannot be stopped. That's a certain mindset. Okay, people want to put this as a movement. All right, we don't have chapters. We don't necessarily have memberships. We have communities where all of us identify with the ideology of being a Passportbro. All right, we out. Peace.